smart person learns from their own mistakes, but an intelligent person doesn't wait to make their own mistakes. They learn from the mistakes of others. The people that I want to learn from, whether it's financial knowledge, spiritual alignment, emotional intelligence, physical fitness, I need you to practice what you preach. If you don't practice what you preach, I'm not listening to you.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. And in this episode, I have a near and dear friend, not only on a personal level, but also on a business level. This guy has built and scaled multiple companies and has used branding in such a unique way, has probably created a lot of the brands or influenced a lot of the personal brands that you have seen online here. And so with that being said, my good friend, multi-seven-figure entrepreneur, Mr. Ali. Thanks for coming on, my man. I know you came in from, for Art Basel and everything to really get connected and network and stuff, but when is it that you leave for Dubai?
So we're just tidying things up here. I had one last trip to my second home, Miami, which is going to be my actual second home coming up, 2024.
Yeah.
Just getting everything squared away, and then we're out.
Yeah, man, it's been a really, really crazy journey. For those that have been following along, you may have seen this guy already multiple times. We've collaborated on many different projects, but a lot of you guys maybe haven't heard his story. It's been a pretty crazy story. I've been able to spectate and be a part of it, and so I definitely want him to share that here. And so Ali, before getting into all the projects that we got into, collaborating, the whole Austin drive and everything, bring us back to what really started, which really became viral in the entrepreneur community, the whole Principles brand and how you really launched that and had it be this big brand that everyone kind of came to you for. Tell us a little bit about how before that actually occurred and how you were able to ride that wave and help people.
Well, thank you for having me, brother. It's been an honor seeing your journey, your growth, and also being a part of it, both, from the sideline as well as in person next to you, kind of building together.
Yeah, absolutely.
It all started from 10X, right? When we actually didn't meet, but we were introduced of each other. We were like, what's this Robert guy? What's this Ali guy? Next thing you know, we're working on 20 projects together. But yeah, we'll take it back a little bit. So long story short, unlike a lot of entrepreneurs, I did the whole college route. I finished, 2 degrees in 5.5 years. So right out of high school, I was already a semester or two ahead, just because I was always in those GT classes and taking EB classes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was always a studious person. Studying came easy to me. Memorizing stuff came easy to me. Thinking on my own came easy to me. But we were force-fed this certain curriculum, right? And so I was always into personal development and learning on my own, because I'm like, school is teaching me up until this much. What about getting to the next level? How do I do that? So right out of high school, I went to college on a scholarship. And if it wasn't for the scholarship, I probably wouldn't have gone, because, growing up, I couldn't afford it. But ended up, college gave me almost $200K to go for 2 years, including housing, books, computer. Oh, awesome. Yeah. $180K. It was crazy. Right? Full scholarship. And both my degrees were covered, right? Because I had this dual degree program. Right out of high school, I'm in college. I'm fending for myself, 18 years old, living on my own, different city, new group of friends. And the first thing I did was I came across a business fraternity in my business building, right?
Right.
And most fraternities get a bad rep. So people, they see the parties and the movies and this and that. Like, it was completely different than that. And it was a business fraternity, so they taught you the foundation of business. They taught you networking, raising money. We were selling pizzas and donuts and stuff in campus, selling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And they taught how to interview, how to get corporate jobs, and all the whole shebang from start to finish of how do you become a student to a corporate person that's involved in the 9 to 5, right? So I joined this business fraternity as a freshman. So I'm over here, 18 years old. All my fellow brothers and sisters are all juniors and seniors about to head out. So they're going for their internships and this and that. So I'm the youngest one ever in the chapter to join. But they're like, there's something in this dude. So I came and crushed the interview. And the interview was crazy, because when we got to it was a auditorium, right? We got there, I'm thinking there's one or two.
Yeah.
There were 70 people in the room. So the first time public speaking, that was my first glimpse of public speaking, where I walked into the room and I shat my pants there. And my legs started shaking. I remember specifically my legs shaking. I was sweating. I was like, what is going on right here? Oh. But I took a breath and I composed myself, and they asked me all these questions, and I was able to articulate myself even under pressure. got into this environment of hanging out with people that are way older than me. So all the people I'm hanging out with are either junior seniors or they're graduates coming back for additional schooling.
Yeah.
So I'm the youngest person. I'm learning all these applicable real life skill sets. So like, oh, bro, taxes and marriage, this, that, like things that we don't really learn in school. Because again, I'm not talking shit about school. I'm never saying please drop out. Not giving you that. That's not my message to you guys. It's balancing the traditional education system with self-education and personal development, right? So this, I actually have it tattooed on me. Alpha Kappa Psi. They taught me the foundation. So now I'm neck deep in entrepreneurship because as a student, you're an entrepreneur. You think that way. You handle your own schedule. You have to pick your classes. No one's forcing you to go. You pick your major. So they're kind of molding you. School itself, all the classes that we went to, kind of useless, to be honest. I'm having a marketing professor teaching me marketing. He's making $50,000, $60,000 a year, and he's never run a marketing company. They're teaching me business development, even though in theory, they know the theories of business development, but they've never developed a business.
You see, that's why I think college is a scam, though, dude. Because, like, I remember when I was in college, this was pre-vid and all that stuff before everything shut down. Dude, the shit that they were teaching was, like, not applicable, number one. Number two, it's from people that aren't actually doing it. It's all theory and shit. And so I took that major leap into just investing into myself. Books, freaking courses, all that stuff. Just massive shift, massive growth every single time because the thinking had to be different. You weren't safe in your little college town or, the same people around that. So anyways, so after you graduate college, you move on from that. What were kind of the next steps for you to then go into business, learning those different skill sets?
So now I have a good foundation, thanks to college, not necessarily thanks to college, but thanks to what I did during college.
Yeah.
Everyone has the same experience.
Yeah.
It's about the opportunities you take. I took the opportunity all the way through. I applied to the scholarships. I won them. I went through. I used my funds correctly. I learned. I attended the events.
Yeah.
I went through the whole process, right? My advice on that is if you don't have a plan A, college is a great plan B. If you don't have one, but if you have a better plan, go with the better plan.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's up to you. I'm not gonna, we're reforming education by teaching people what they need to know. We're not teaching them what to think. We're teaching them how to think.
Yeah.
See? That's what college doesn't teach you. It teaches you to be a worker, a slave, as opposed to being able to be creative and open-minded and having this learning mindset. Anyway, right forever on that. So right out of college, May I graduated, and in June, I got my first corporate job. I actually applied for 800 jobs, 10 interviews. 2 interviews went okay. 1, I crushed it. And then crazy story how the universe works. My boss came. I was a marketing and operations coordinator for a healthcare facility. So it was not an entry-level job. It was an intermediate level job.
Right.
And I applied. I was like, fuck it, LinkedIn, whatever you have your applies. I went ahead and did it, right? No fear. My uncle came over that day, which is my, family member, and he was like, I have this guy I want you to meet, or he just graduated, and he told me the guy's name, which I can't say right now, I'll tell you later, but he was good friends with the same guy who owned the company. So crazy story how that kind of worked out. And it's like, skip the interview, come with me to the office. So I had my interview in 3 weeks.
Oh, nice.
Thursday, on Wednesday he came over, and Thursday we went to the office. The next day, I was like, come, I'll take you.
Nice.
So we went to the office, and next thing you know, the guy's like, all right, well, first you had a crazy resume. You did all this stuff in college and blah, blah, blah. Well, what's your starting salary? And I threw some random number out. I said $46K. And the guy said, done. At this point, I haven't started freelancing yet, right? So I'm just fresh out of college. You're just getting acclimated.
Right.
So he goes ahead and says, all right, cool, done. 46, to sign the contract. I'll send it to you tomorrow. I was like, when do I start? He said, tomorrow. Come tomorrow to the office. He had a corporate office in the Galleria Houston, nice building, 18th floor. And he had 6 cars that he didn't drive. He had a $100,000 watch on, $2,000 suit. I'm like, this guy's a freaking boss. Because he's a doctor.
Yeah.
He's actually had 2 doctorates, 2 different hematology, oncology, 2 different types of doctor degrees. And now he's a businessman. So he doesn't work with doctors anymore. He tells the doctors what to do. So long story short, was in the healthcare industry. I was a marketing consultant for the healthcare industry, and I did everything that you see in the freestanding emergency rooms and the urgent cares. You've seen those, right, when you're driving by?
Yeah.
Especially in Texas. You see them.
Oh, there's plenty of them.
Yeah. So I was doing all the billboards, all the flyers, all the collateral, right? You get the pamphlets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All the signs on the wall in the rooms, all that. That was my job. But then he started milking me of other resources. What else can you do? I was like, well, I kind of like systems. I kind of like operations. I kind of like this. So, all right, you make the team schedule. Here you go. You coordinate the electronic medical record software. Even though I'm not like licensed doctor, but I can do the back end stuff. So he started milking me. And then one day, the second year, I went for a year, right? 12-hour shifts for 4 days in a row. Because I'm working nurses' matrix schedules and healthcare shifts are crazy, 12 to 12.
And you're doing this for $46,000 a year, 12-hour shifts, day in, day out.
4 days. Then the next year, he gave me a 10K raise, but now I have to work 5 days. And the next year, he got me a car and a laptop and a phone. I had to work 6 days something. It was 5 days, every other Saturday.
Okay.
So I'm over here, no break. At this point, I'm very unhealthy. I'm eating out every day because, eating Chick-fil-A, I'm making a little bit of money. It was cool because my family was proud of me. I'm not a doctor, but I was telling doctors what to do. I was in the healthcare industry, and $46K, that's a lot of money when you're fresh out of college or whatever. But the way obviously I was sharing with my family and taking care of lots of moving pieces. So what ended up happening was on the second year, one month, there was a big meeting, and we came up with the idea of creating an EMR software.
Gotcha.
Almost like a Salesforce or a HubSpot, but about healthcare. Okay. So we had 8 rooms in every facility, and only 5 were able to be used because 3 rooms were full of file cabinets because you need to keep patient files on site for 7 years. That's the Texas HIPAA rules.
Okay.
Anyway, so next thing you know, it took 6 months to develop a software called an EMR that we sped up the patient process because everything's done on iPads now. You don't need to run and go get a chart and wait and read and print and do all this. As it goes to the computer, doctor does his patient's transcription. Everything's done digitally. Took 6 months to implement. Okay, we took 3 APIs, 2 developers, and me watching over everything. Okay, and we built an EMR software. Ended up generating my boss that year alone $14 million. He sold the license to 7 other clinics in Houston. Ended up making it was a $50 million deal. He made $50 million in 6 months. And this is what happened. I was like, hey, you promised me 6 figures so many times.
Yeah.
I said 6 figures. It's like, I got you. Riding me with little stuff and giving me this and that. And just riding me, gave me a Christmas gift, got me shoes one time, one time. So going in circles for 6 months. Thing is implemented. It's almost like 2 years, 11 months now. And on the 3rd year, exactly on the day I got hired 3 years ago, out of anger, I quit. I was so frustrated because I had bills stacking up, parents, this and that, stuff. I wanted to get that, and I was working so much. I was drained. I was 210 pounds, biggest I've ever been.
Yeah.
Unhealthy, drinking every weekend. Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people get there. That's like the dead end road on the corporate side because it's on the leadership of the person, of the entrepreneur, or the business owner that you're serving, and it's not necessarily their fault. It's just how they want to live their life at the end of the day, especially with software, it's just, there's no cost at a certain point to just bring on more people. And then you obviously build infrastructure and stuff. But I mean, a $50 million deal, that's life-changing for him.
But he moved to Dubai. You got a jet between him and his partner.
Yeah. But what's cool about that though, even though you had the corporate experience and, went the American dream, if you will, college and that, you learned marketing. You have the software, devs, then you also started hiring out.
I learned team building. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I learned the importance of team in college with the fraternity, with 60, 70 students working together. And I learned execution and delegation from this. Long story short, I had a virtual assistant while I was there. So all the designs that you see, I'm a graphic designer by trade. That's how I learned freelancing.
Right.
But I ended up hiring a VA, paying out of my pocket, and my paycheck that I got, I paid out of my pocket. And obviously the company thought I was a superstar.
Yeah.
But no one knew I had a virtual assistant. That was my first glimpse of delegation and team building.
Yeah. So flash forward, that started out with one VA. How many VAs have you hired over the past, 3-4 years? I mean, since I have no idea.
In the last, between 4 or 5 business models, not including for clients, I've had over 100.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Over 100 virtual assistants.
Yeah, that's awesome. The vetting, the hiring, doing all that, but even just helping business owners get to the point where they bring on the VA. I remember when I first started delegating, especially the core skill sets that I had like this ego thing attached to it where I didn't want to let go of it because I thought that the business couldn't run without me on marketing and media buying, for example. And you're like, dude, you want a logo or you want these designs, you want all this collateral. I just got it done in 2 days. There's no way you could do this. You know what I mean? And I remember that's when it clicked for me. I was like, man, I never want to be behind the laptop and stuck behind the laptop and chained to it. That's the golden handcuff of the whole laptop lifestyle. It was marketed for so long as being this thing where you can work from home, you can do anything that you want, blah, 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 blah. But then you get stuck if you don't have a different way of thinking. And that's to your point about teaching people the way to think and how to actually leverage what we have in the modern academy, the modern way, the modern lifestyle, instead of being chained to things that you're finding identity in. And so I think that's a really profound thing that you did for me when we first started our business journey. So let's kind of flash forward then to after you got some VA, after you got all this experience and everything, how did you then go and launch that branding agency where you work with hundreds and hundreds of clients?
So right when I left the corporate America job, I started a company. There was one other instance when I got scammed for $50K. Long story short, and whatever, a lot of stuff happened. But what ended up happening was I started a brand called Principles because my two partners, one my boss, one my old business partner, didn't have principles. So I'm reading Ray Dalio's book Principles, and I'm like, look, I'm gonna build this company called Principles for one tagline, one principle. It's called doing good business with good people. That's all I want to do. Good business with good team, good employees, good partners, good clients, whatever. Good business, like real business, not scamming, not shorting, not half-assing. I was good at graphic design. I was good at, I started becoming good at website development,
right.
Social media, content creation. So just SMMA, that's what we were. We were digital, so we were a social media marketing company, right? Digital marketing. Of course, we explored a little bit of, with ads and organic and different stuff, right? Built a couple of apps. But next thing you know, I have 25 virtual assistants. These beasts overseas in creative direction, in, the sales, in closing deals over the phone. So, I had appointment setters, I had sales reps, I had graphic designers, editors, the whole ecosystem being built so I can focus on the front end, business development, getting clients, getting leads, and they focus on fulfillment. It's been 2 years now. I haven't opened Photoshop or Illustrator. 2 years. And I haven't touched it. But I can get any graphic design, any editing done. I don't have to do it myself, as you know.
Yeah.
On the editing team, you don't edit the videos.
No.
People message it, oh my God, your editing is so great. How do you do it?
Yeah, I like to stay ignorant with that stuff, man. I mean, even we were talking, Christian, dude, I don't want to know the camera stuff. I don't want to know the graphic stuff. I don't want to know. I want it to be done.
Yeah.
And that's it. I want it to look great. I know what quality looks like. So I'm able to say, hey, that looks bad. The spacing's off. I got that. But I don't want to be in the software at all.
Well, because you've been on this side of the spectrum, so you know what to look for.
Yeah.
You know what's good. You may not know how to do it, but you know how to get to the final, the goal.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what, being in all these industry, that's what I'm blessed to be in marketing, because we learned e-commerce, wholesaling, real estate wholesaling, digital marketing. We learned tech. We learned everything because marketing is the oxygen of every business. Before you even get to the sale, you need to have leads. You need to have, brand recognition. You need to have the identity.
Yeah.
Before it gets to that second part. So it's a perfect example. Well, you don't need to know it, but you have some of the best content out there. You don't need to know how it's done. You know what to look for.
Yeah.
Same thing with me. I don't want to. When we got into crypto and NFTs, I was asking you half the questions. I don't need to know how to write a Python code. I just need a developer that writes smart contracts. Get it done. That's what I need.
Yeah.
I can have a conversation with y'all about. I'm well versed enough to have a conversation. I don't need to sit there and code it. So how much I'm paying you is the final product. What I need. Can we do it or not? Is it just like you said the other day? Can we get it done? That's it.
Yeah, that's my favorite. It's an inside joke of my companies, guys. And it's kind of like an asshole move, but it's also to get the thinking in the right direction. They'll come up with some sort of excuse of why something has to be a certain way, or they couldn't get it done by a deadline. And I'm just like, or we just get it done. That's a pretty fucking good idea. How about we just go from here to here instead of all that other bullshit? That's a pretty fucking good idea. So I always say that, and they look at me, they're like, all right, it's fun, man. I mean, it's not necessarily it's fun to go call that stuff out because that thing gets draining, but it's cool to just see how energy moves when you know what you're looking for, when you're super precise on what you're wanting to learn, because it only takes 1 year to 2 years to learn the skill set to get far ahead. Everything else is based off of experience. There's mechanics of marketing, there's mechanics of branding, there's mechanics of advertising. You can learn them from some courses, you can learn them from some videos, but then it's all based off of experience.
That's the thing. So 2 points that you just made. One, the present day generation, they're not autodidactic. Autodidact means?
Sure.
So Autodidactic, just for anyone listening, is the ability to solve problems on your own without needing external validation, help, and guidance and handholding. That's how me and you are. We'll figure it out. The reason you're telling them to go figure it out because you figured it out. But when you hand someone on a silver platter, you're almost enabling them to be idiots. And unfortunately, that happens. I'll give you an example. Happens with children and family. You love them so much that you want to do it for them, but then you're taking the experience out of the journey of them falling on their face and then learning at the beginning. You know what? I shouldn't do that next time.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? There's like a crazy experiment too where a baby falls and the mom freaks out. She's like, oh, that baby's falling, and she starts crying and yelling. So the baby freaks out too.
Yeah.
And then the same thing, a baby falls and the mom's like, haha, get up, you're good. And the baby's like, I'm good. Same exact thing happened, because how you respond really makes a difference in how people receive you. So if you say, go figure it out, you're not just being an asshole. You're saying, go figure it out, because if I wasn't here, what would you do? You have to go figure it out. It's pushing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really, really good point too, is especially entrepreneurs on our come up, the amount of time we've put into mastering a craft or just to figure shit out, and people being lazy and not going and seeking the information. I made a video on this. Like, if people just studied how money worked and they stopped scrolling on TikTok, they stopped scrolling on all social media and just having that dopamine addiction, they would see what the hell is going on. Same thing with money. Same thing even in relationships to a degree, right? We have that the Tinder culture, the swipe left, swipe right, swipe, and only shallow questions. Like, it's the same thing. Like, go read books. That's why I have a big library. But go read books on like how this shit is actually, done. Not every relationship is going to work out perfect, but at least you have more awareness as to how you are representing yourself, how you can actually contribute to business or your skill sets to a community and stuff like that. So I think that's really, really good point. And I think that's what you're doing with the Principles Academy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just helping them make those pivots that they need to make with their thinking.
Well, one, we're aggregating the data, the stuff that you need to succeed. A lot of people are like, hey, join my course, join my curriculum, whatever. It's all wealth building, one skill.
Right.
Well, why don't we teach you a holistic lifestyle? Let's teach your mind right first. Let's change you from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. Let's show you how to think positively. Let's show you how to communicate. Let's show you how to interact with different types of people. And then let's go into personal development and really figuring yourself out. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your goals? What's your purpose? What's your why? Most people haven't even done that exercise. What's my why? Why am I going to work every day? To make money. Why? To support my family. Why? People don't go that far, So we're giving them those tools. When you join the Principles Academy, there's 4 assessments you got to take. One is the 16F personality test, Myers' big kind of formula. Second one is the human design, a little bit of spirituality and astrology. Yeah. The third one is entrepreneurship aptitude test, and the fourth one is a self-assessment. So when you take these, even before you even join the app, now you have all these questions, answers. What's your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What do you suck at? What are you really good at? And please dedicate your time to what kind of personality do you have? What kind of learner are you? People try to listen to audiobooks and they're not auditory learners.
Or vice versa. They buy the books, but
they're never going to read it.
Yeah, they're not going to read the textbooks or, these things that are very, very logical and in structure and stuff. They need the auditory in order to actually learn it and retain it.
Auditory, visual, kinesthetic. Kinesthetic, the book and the audio will matter. You have to go do it. You have to go sit there and do it. And when you fail, you ask the questions and then you'll learn after that.
That's one of the biggest things that I've learned too, is the difference between understanding and knowing. They get confused all the time. Whereas understanding, you may get a concept. It's like the broke person talking about money, or the entrepreneur that talks about building a team, but he's got one staff member. He understands the mechanics of it, but doesn't know it. And there's a difference because the thinking is so different. The execution is very different. And you think through it with a team through energy and second, third order implications of rolling out a new project or rolling out a new scope and all that, as it goes further in development. So it's very, very interesting when those are the simple questions that you do to yourself, because when you do those to yourself, take those 4 tests, you can then go see through people because you better understand yourself. And I think when you take those tests, at least for me, you're able to identify people's strengths, weaknesses, and where they're at in their personal development journey, because you can't see what's in them unless it was within you.
Oh, I just learned it online. I wanted to show me I can make thousands of dollars doing this. Well, you're in it for the wrong reason. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
But I want high ticket sales. Why? So I can, be the wolf of Wall Street. That's not how it works. You see what I'm saying? So you have to figure out what you're good at and what you're not good at, delegate it or get it covered somewhere else.
Yeah.
People sit there. I'll give you an example. For a long time as business owners, we did our accounting and our legal processes too, right? Sure. I've done hundreds of spreadsheets and contracts and this and that. Nowadays, where I am right now, when I get on with any team, I'm not doing legal. I'm not doing accounting. That's a flat no, because I'm not. It drains me. Creativity does not drain me. Getting on calls, leading, teaching, figuring stuff out, UX, UI, content creation does not drain me. Tech does not drain me.
I love finance, and I think that's why we also had a great 1-2 punch combo on so many projects. It was like, hey, I need some creative juice. Just here's what I'm thinking. I'm not going to look. Just do everything that you're great at. Here's my 2 inputs, and just take it.
Right.
So I think that's another good point too, of just playing to your strengths. And it takes a while. I mean, you gotta figure out what you're good at. Those personality tests help, but you also have to actually do the action, do the work, and actually see if that resonates with you.
So that's the first step, knowing the awareness. Once you're aware, what do you do with that awareness? A lot of times that's why it's easier to give the advice than to apply it on yourself, right? Therapists or coaches or stuff like that, they're easy, like, oh, just do this. And they're like, you don't do it. It's like, it's easier said than done. You know what I'm saying?
I had an individual that on this podcast earlier. His name's Tanner, and a good buddy of mine. And he works with a very, very high-end net worth guy, very high-end coach. And Tanner, who's grown, multiple 8-figure businesses and stuff like that, would go to him and ask him questions. And he's like, do you want the answer, or do you want me to help you get to the answer? Because I can't tell you the answer and you to then take it and implement it, because it's not your idea. I have to communicate through to you so you actually come up with the idea that I want to design for you that I know will fit, because if I just tell you, you're not going to do it. And I think that's also the difference between leadership and manipulation. Same skill sets, differences of the heart, differences of the intention.
Of course. That's why I say that quote. You can take a horse to the water. Sometimes you can force him to drink. You can't make him thirsty.
You can shove his face in the water, though. You can just be like, get the fucking water.
I mean, you can't make him thirsty. You can't make him want the water. And that goes for ideas, partners, spouses, children, whatever the case may be. Execution, any business thing. We're involved in so many different networking events and stuff like that. I came here for the Family Office Summit, connecting and learning about private equity and raising capital and lines of credit and SBA loans and sovereign fund. But until I came here, I could only read so many theories. I read 4 or 5 books on capital raising, watched 2 different courses. But until I get into I was thirsty to learn this stuff. So I immersed myself in the environment.
Yeah.
If I'm telling someone, hey, this is the next big thing, bro, you can work, a year, not close a single deal, but then you raise $100 million, you make $1 million in a year. It's great. But unless they want to do it, it's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
That's one thing that I think, to our point earlier about figuring shit out, like there's so much investment emotionally, energetically, having to go through those decisions of whether you're pivoting your career, pivoting into a project, or really just trying to figure out what that next step is for that vehicle for you to get to that next stage. That there's a lot of energy and a lot of time thinking through those decisions. And when people ask for the simple answer, you give it to them and they don't implement it, it's also like, dude, I spent this amount of time to figure out the fucking answer, and I give it to you on a silver platter, and you don't fucking learn it. And if you're a leader, that can be hard to digest and really embrace, especially if they don't have the same vision for what they can be, and you see the potential in them, but they don't see it. It can eat at you if you're a leader and you're not aware of that. Sometimes people are just going to be who they are, man. You can't control them. There has to be an external factor or an internal factor with them that makes them see themselves differently than you see them.
I agree with that. I've experienced that with close friends, family. But here's my issue. Like you said, I've put tens of thousands of hours, if not hundreds of thousands, into reading different subjects and marketing, philosophy, sales, psychology, spirituality, leadership, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
I've literally sat there, put in thousands of hours of reading, watching coursework, spend $250,000 plus on conferences and masterminds. And like you said, I'm giving it to you on a silver platter. Now, the issue is smart people, let me rephrase this. Okay. A smart person learns from their own mistakes, but an intelligent person doesn't wait to make their own mistakes. They learn from the mistakes of others. So if I've been there, done that, that's why we pay for coaching. When you see someone super fit, you're like, all right, how much does it cost? $2,000. Cool, run it.
And they'll know it too.
Know it, and no, not only did they know it, they live it. Knowing is not enough. That's why you go to Lifetime Fitness, one of the best gyms in the world, but you see fat trainers. They know it. Well, why are they living it? I don't want to be like you. What about the person that's giving you relationship advice, but they always have divorces and relationship problems? I'm not listening to you. Maybe I'll listen to you what not to do. You know what I'm saying? But you don't live and breathe that. The people that I want to learn from, whether it's financial knowledge, spiritual alignment, emotional intelligence, physical fitness, I need you to practice what you preach. If you don't practice what you preach, I'm not listening to you.
Yeah.
Great. You got a Lamborghini, you got $100,000 watch, right? But was it sustainable? Can you do that day in and day out and have that kind of alignment where this is what you live and breathe and sleep this? Or was it a one-hit wonder? And you got it, you can never do it again. And that's why it's interesting for me and you. We've stayed true to our principles. And what does it always go back to? Marketing. If we didn't learn marketing and being able to learn different things, we wouldn't have been here. Because shit evolves so fast.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about that too? Because I got into marketing secondarily. Like I've always been a finance guy. I've always loved looking at, crypto. That's what changed my life, going in deep into that rabbit hole and understanding that. And I created courses, ebooks, all that stuff, and learned marketing through that passion. And marketing's been the consistent thing, to your point. Everyone needs it. It's the bloodline of every business. So when you learn those skill sets of marketing, copy, ads, design, when you learn that stuff, you get to see all the other business models that you weren't aware of or even existed and all that stuff. And I started out in finance, but I had to go learn marketing. It didn't matter how much I knew about crypto and marketing. And, I know we're raising capital now for our funds and stuff, but money's not going to come from just nothing. You have to go market yourself. Personal branding, super important. Everything goes back to marketing because marketing is getting that attention.
What I meant was exactly what you said. It wasn't that the industry of marketing. It was the umbrella of marketing. What marketing introduced us to: entrepreneurship, reading, personal development, connections, podcasts, content.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But some people, they'll think, oh, the marketing thing's not for me. It's not for me because I'm a finance guy, or they'll put a door up, and say, oh, I'm not that guy. But if you learn to use these tools and the digital stuff that we have, and I'm kind of an old soul, even though I'm doing all the social media stuff, I'm kind of an old soul. I'm like, I know how to leverage the distribution, and I can play the game. I think it's very fascinating when you just embrace those things. The things that you have the most resistance towards are typically the things that you need to go do, or you need to solve. So if it's marketing, for example, like that has benefited us tremendously over the years, and we've been able to help plenty of different clients. I mean, we worked on like 70 or 80 clients together. I worked on another couple hundred, you worked on another couple hundred, and we got to go see the different business models and stuff. And that's the easiest, way to get into the door, into the room with the people that you want to be like and stuff like that. And so I agree with you that, marketing is probably the best skill set to learn in today's age because it's so applicable. You get the instant feedback and it's on the devices and tools that we use right now. So it's not some archaic thing that doesn't take a lot of adoption. People are already on here, so you can kind of see it really, really quick,
I like how we obviously you were in Cali, I was in Texas. We met at 10X ClothCon.
Yeah.
Worked on a project together, kind of overlapped. And then it kind of went like this. And then it came back, started, our VIP clients, and we started, tag teaming our clients. And now, obviously it was like that because we were so far out. You're doing the crypto stuff and I'm over here doing, education. And it comes back, boom. And then now we're back to raising capital. But guess what? It goes back to our ability to learn, ability to network, our ability to speak, ability to create content, to connect, passing value back and forth. Hey, I have a need. What you got for me? Show me how to do this. Hey, can you look over my BSL?
Yeah.
Hey, can you say, what do you think about this? Hey, typo.
I make so many typos on my stories, dude. Like, I just fucking hit the thing, post, and I don't want to see it anymore because I don't want to be on the thing.
Went to the, Family Office Summit, and now we're learning how to raise capital for ourselves and others.
Yeah.
Connecting dots and brokering deals, and now we're in real estate, gold and commodities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now it's still, it's evolving.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some of the projects that we're working on and that you're working on specifically with Circle Syndicate. Obviously, we're raising some capital for some deals. I know you're leading that up, which is really, really cool. I want to talk about that. We got some masterminds and some stuff. So why don't you share what Circle Syndicate is? What was the founding idea behind it outside of just the principles that are behind it, backing the core message of the group? And then how that's connected into some of the other projects like Principles Academy and stuff like that.
That great question. Now, what it all comes down to is the brand principles, not really of the brand, not the marketing agency principles. What principles is the lifestyle. You live by a set of principles. I live by a set of principles. When we're together, we live by a set of principles. Our principles, I'll give you a perfect example. Who's paying first? That's our principles. They take care of the team, take care of, hey, when are we spending time with our family? That's our principles. Hey, how are you going to the gym today? That's part of our principles. So principles is a lifestyle brand. That led us to everything else, including the Circle Syndicate, even though it doesn't have the word principles in it. So my buddy Kane, all the way in Dubai, Kane Way, shout out, he put together a group on WhatsApp. He's like, I'm going to put together heavy hitters. I'm looking for the best mastermind group. I can't find it. I'm going to create one. Genius. So let's do it. What does that have to do? What do we have to do to be the best members? He's like, all right, first, no scammers. I've been scamming enough time, Ali. You've been scamming enough time. No scammers. Now, first, these scams, once they're out, bad for life. Done deal. Second, value. Let's bring value. The questions that we had as entrepreneurs, let's share what we didn't know. We don't give them what we didn't have. We share what we didn't know. So now they're equipped, again, what to think, how to think. I mean, not what to think, how to think. We're not telling them exactly what. We're saying this is how you, because each case by case is different, right? Your entrepreneurship, your tax liabilities are different. Your family situation is different. Your health is different. Your body composition.
Your risk tolerance is different as well for certain investments or different types of projects.
Exactly. You might love crypto, but then you have a traditional finance guy that says fuck crypto. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So it varies.
Yeah.
So Circle Syndicate was, let's put a group of heavy hitters together. Let's provide them value. Let's do in-person events. We've done so many events, done marketing for so many events for other people.
Yeah.
Let's do it for ourselves. We had 6 or 7 pop-ups this year. We had one Miami mastermind, really badass, a couple of days.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that was 2 weeks of work, bro. Just put 50K together, invite people, this and that.
That's one thing that I commend you so much for, dude, and I always have looked up to you for. You're great at creating community, bringing a really dope concept together, not only through, the people and just attracting the right people, because we always do that, but you bring them, we get them into the room, and just have great conversations. You always throw dope events. You always bring stuff together. And that's something that for me, community hasn't been the easiest thing, kind of like how you're like with finance and Lego. It's like, it's not really my thing. And I always commend people that have not only the communication skills to be able to do that, but to be able to really make that impact and bring people together with a core message. So that's something that I've always looked up to for, brother.
Appreciate it, bro. The feeling is mutual. Like I said, we always go back and forth. Doesn't matter what industry, doesn't matter what city we're living in, doesn't matter the age.
Yeah.
Always gonna, once you're connected with somebody, once you're building together, truly building together. So absolutely. But to keep going, now Circle Syndicate was that sense of community. We wanted to have good energy. We wanted to have teaching each other. We wanted to have, a network. When I show up to Miami, of course I'm calling you, I know you here.
Yeah.
But it's like, how do we go to each city and have a crowd that just pulls up on us and just says, come on, let's go connect with, I'll take it into and just learn. Because the best way to learn, yes, I've read thousands of books. Literally, I think I'm at like 1,200 books, right? Over 1,000 books. Thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of hours on YouTube. Like I said, 250,000, we're probably at almost $1 million together on personal development. Pretty close.
Yeah, I've done about, with receipts, somewhere in the 550 to 600 range.
Yeah, almost 800, you see right there, right?
Yeah.
300,000.
Yeah.
Literally, right there. But the best way to learn is from people. Not even from experiences. Someone can tell you better than you can go experience and fail. Someone could be like, hey, this is step 1, step 2, step 3. All you got to do is follow it. And you won't make a mistake if you follow it correctly. The people is the best way to learn. People are different cultures, ethnicities, religions, backgrounds, economic backgrounds, ages. People is the best way to learn. So let's group of people together, which led us to the next sector of the Circle Syndicate evolving. Community was one. 7-8 figure entrepreneurs, dope network, content, cool stuff, watches in the thing and cars being sold and deals and this and that, which led us to the next piece of the puzzle, which was deal flow. We have a group of dope people with dope ideas and great connections. And how do we leverage that to take a little bit of piece of, like a Shark Tank, a little bit piece of each business?
Yeah.
So here comes Wolf, who's on a call downstairs. Shout out to another member of the Circle Syndicate. He's the CFO. He's teaching us private equity, raising capital, hedge funds, sovereign funds, all these different kinds of things. And then the next thing you know, we connected one dot and the deal went through. So, oh shit, we actually raised $20 million. We hear all these VCs and this and that. Oh, raised $20 million. We get paid a finder's fee. All right, cool. Consulting fee, connecting the dots, whatever. Equity, doesn't matter. You get paid to bring value. Your value in entrepreneurship, you get paid based on the value you bring to the marketplace. Well, we brought the value.
Yeah.
We connected the dots. Next thing you know, you get a piece of the puzzle. One deal funded. Next thing you know, $70 million is funded. And we're like, oh shit, maybe we can do something with this. Again, goes back to community building, marketing, sales, brand, leadership, connections.
And the big thing too, it's the payoff is worth it.
Absolutely.
When you do this stuff in lower markets, and it's nothing against lower markets, that's where we started. I mean, we came up basically from nothing to build, our marketing companies and our businesses and stuff. But the opportunity cost of taking on even marketing clients a lot of times, if it's not at a certain level, or if the business isn't at a certain level, like the cost becomes greater, because when you're funding deals or we're raising capital for our fund, when I send you deals and you're like, hey, we're going to have a call with XYZ, I'm not going to name the name, but XYZ has, 500 million he's trying to deploy. How can we actually work on these deals together? The tempo is different. Number one, we're not in a rush. We're looking for the right deals, the right people, etc. But then number two, it's the real core values show up when more money's on the line. Because if you're going to scam people, man, it's in that lower bracket where there's that ignorance layer. And there's ignorance all the way up, but especially with a lot of online money gamers and stuff like that, you can easily sort through it when the opportunity is big enough. Because when you have nothing, typically every opportunity sounds great, right? Like, I want to do this. Oh, I want to invest in this shit coin. Oh, I want to invest into this real estate property, but hasn't even been appraised or anything like that stuff. You're just throwing money around. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs fall victim to that because they're trying to see themselves in the identity of a serial entrepreneur, investor, But a lot of people, and I know a couple entrepreneurs that went broke doing so. But that payoff is so key, and it's tying those things into things that make the skill sets, the journey, the community all worthwhile, which I think is really cool what you're doing with the Circle Syndicate.
I appreciate it, brother. So there's two thoughts on that, what you just said. First, when you have principles, when you have a good product and good service and good value, just like you and I, whether it's a $5,000 client or a $500,000 client, the quality of work is still going to be the best. And now that's the headache of who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
On the other end of the spectrum, when you have someone paying a couple of K, $100, $200, $500, typically if they don't have the money and you're trying to get a sale, it ends up biting you in the ass. Big headache of a client, because now they're investing their whole life savings in you, and and they don't even know what to do because they don't have the bread for anything else. But someone client gives you $50,000, they got money to spend. They're expecting to this thing to get the job done.
Something about that too, especially when there's more risk on the table. So whether that be a new business venture, because we did some real estate businesses, some worked out, some didn't, right? There's risk inherently with any new business venture, any new business model, etc. And when the entrepreneur that signs up for marketing services, or signs up for a done-for-you service, it's a bigger ticket item or whatever it is, there's a life cycle that starts with that. It's not taking all the old things that gave you the problems that you have, being pushed into you as the service provider, or being pushed as the next thing that we are doing together. It's, no, this is going to be the catalyst that changes. So that inner alchemy that people go through is a lot of emotions, it's a lot of personal development. And if that trade-off isn't there of the risk reward of the opportunity, or the payoff isn't big enough, then a lot of times you're just going sideways, and you're just inheriting all of that negative energy that may have came from another business deal that went south on their prior deal that you had nothing to do with, or the last service provider that did the exact same thing as you, quote unquote, which a lot of marketing agencies, they promise a bunch of shit and they don't deliver.
Yeah.
They meet at the same stage and they bring all that stuff with them. And so I think that that's very, very common, again, on the service level and on that side. So if you can go higher up in market as an entrepreneur, learning the skill sets that we're talking about, that you can get in Principles Academy and all that kind of stuff, allows you to really create those foundational elements to go catapult into the things that have bigger payoffs, and it's just a different market at the end of the day. People that have already gone through that alchemy a lot of ways. Alchemy. Yeah, man. It's something that I personally went through too, inner alchemy, the burning off of an old self. A lot of people, when they get started, maybe it's from a trauma, or maybe it's from something that they don't want to experience anymore. Maybe it's even just getting out of the environment that they were in. Like, I'm speaking for myself here. I wanted to run away from everything that my hometown represented. And to me, even though the hometown's not a bad place to live, raise kids, etc., to me, it just represented, poverty. It represented never enough. We didn't have it, enough to, get food on the table, or whatever the case is in a lot of situations. It represented scarcity. It represented just every single knee-jerk reaction to an expense being that fucking compression. So
You're programmed into that, bro, without even meaning to.
oh, for sure. And so that inner alchemy, and that's programmed into a lot of people. A lot of it's through, school systems, even just middle America. The school system teaches you to conserve and not to produce. It's a very interesting dynamic once you see outside of it. And at least for me, how I kind of viewed it was that inner alchemy had to happen. And the faster that you can go through and realize that your questions that you ask yourselves are going to generate the thoughts that you have. The thoughts then provide you the actions to take. The actions develop your results. Those results become your habits, and your habits are then going to leave your legacy. Once I understood that framework over and over, I was like, dude, I just got to give myself the right inputs. If I give myself the right inputs, which is why I invest a lot in books, why I'm so big on courses and saying, fuck the school system, is because that stuff gave me so much more when it came to an ROI, because it actually allowed me to have that stuff get purged out of me and go get shit that actually applies into the real market. And so that's why I love, again, what you're doing over there with Circle Syndicate, as well as with Principles Academy and everything. And so, Ali, I know that they're going to go ahead and hit you up on the gram. They're going to hit you up with the links that we're going to put in the description. What would be one last thing that you want to give out to the audience, man, about, what you're up to, where they can get in contact with you, and how they can participate in everything that you got going on?
No matter what venture I'm working on, because it always evolves. We have a legacy project, we have passion project, we have cash flow project. It doesn't matter. It all revolves around one thing. It's being the best version of yourself. And if you're finding yourself struggling, no matter what stage of life you're in, I don't care if you made $1 million. I don't care if you haven't even hit 10K a month. I don't care if you're living in Africa or India. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what race, religion, ethnicity. Doesn't matter. You can make changes now. Take one step today, one little step, right, to get to the next level. Just instead of adding things to your life and saying what else you can do, try this. Try removing 1 or 2 things from your life that don't serve you anymore.
I love that.
So that's something I did. I removed 1 or 2 things in my life that no longer serve me, which allowed me to separate and elevate. That's kind of what I said, separate and elevate. And then when I dropped that weight, then I was able to level up. And always, financially, spiritually, physically, and emotionally as well.
I hired a performance coach. I want to add to that one point you just made. I hired a performance coach a while ago, and he used to work with Ty Lopez and Sam Ovens and all these top guys, right? His name was Mark, so shout out Mark. He told me one thing, and it stuck with me, and it's the exact same point. It was, what's the best way to make a Ferrari go faster? Just take something out the front. Remove things from your life, and you can actually elevate this, or separate to elevate, as you like to call it, but you can actually have some runway. If you don't have enough runway on that opportunity, on the vehicle, you don't have things that are helping you actually accelerate, then you're actually losing. You're behind the traffic. You're stuck. Especially here in Miami, people have all these Ferraris and all these beautiful cars. They go 2 seconds before they have to hit the brakes and wait at a red light or wait in traffic. It's kind of funny, but I think that's a really, really key lesson. It took me a long time to really not only learn it, but embody it and identify it as I've grown as an entrepreneur in different businesses, different models.
So 3 things you can look for. People. What people can you let go to get to the next level? Second thing is habits. What habits can you let go? The third thing that people don't really talk about, limiting beliefs. It might not be habits. It might be you, but limiting beliefs that you've been taught and programmed, So I'll give you an example. Perfect one. My dad worked his ass off. Hardest worker in the room ever, 12 hours. Actually, it's funny that I used to work 12 hours a day. It's crazy how that works out. 12-hour shifts as a mechanic, in working in garages.
Yeah. 7
days a week. So in my head, hard work equals more money. But then in that case, my dad should have been a billionaire. He worked the hardest. That's how it works. Limiting belief.
Only one that I think that it applies to is Elon Musk. That guy, he works on so much.
Intellectually, you see him, he's working smart and hard.
Yeah. He's very, very skilled, very leveraged.
Not just hard labor.
For sure.
Because those, the immigrants for the wit. We can't beat them.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they work so hard, man. And I love, and especially from my hometown, man. I mean, we had so much construction going on. I mean, it was a cop town, nurse town, a lot of construction going on. I mean, they put in so much work and so much effort. But to your point, again, that's just, and there's a shortage of labor, there's a shortage in services. So we'll see a surge in that in the market. We're actually seeing that right now. My brother's company is taking off in plumbing and construction. So we're kind of seeing a rebalance because, the whole COVID thing where people were just getting paid and getting free money, so they didn't want to work and all that. But that's a different topic. But it's very interesting, like you said. Once you change the thinking, you can deploy the leverage that then generates the vehicle for you to actually make a lot more money or get more of an impact with your work. It's fascinating and it's awesome.
It's all perspective, bro. It's like the immigrant came with $10 in his pocket in the backpack and one pair of shoes and one pair of clothes. His perspective was, new world. I can become anyone who I want to. American dream. Versus the person that's grown up and in America, goes to school year, not worried about wars or poverty or where they're going to sleep, and they're like, I'm depressed. You know what I'm saying? It's perspective. And the last quote that I'm going to leave everybody with is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Play that back if you didn't hear it first time.
Boom. So with that said, guys, Ali in the building. If you guys want to go ahead and connect with him, I'm going to link everything in the description here. Thank you so much for actually watching, and I hope you got a lot of value. If you did, like and share it with another entrepreneur that's trying to grow, trying to build their businesses, and trying to actually build a life that's worth living. And that's what we do here. So with that said, see you in the next video. Peace.